Since the loss of my husband, I've made some amazing friendships and have some new really great relationships, supportive relationships. And one of them almost didn't happen, and I'll tell you why. It was a couple months after my husband passed away, and I had just gotten back on social media. And through, you know how it works, a friend of a friend, I was introduced to an Instagram account by the name of the Cancer Fashionista. And the woman behind the Cancer Fashionista was Donna McNutt. And we had a friend in common who shared her story, and I was drawn in. Now, once I started following Donna, I realized we had some pretty striking similarities. She was being treated at the same hospital where my husband had been treated and eventually passed away. And Donna had multiple myeloma, which is a cancer of your bone marrow. I think I'm saying that right. And there was a lot of crossovers. She was going to have a bone marrow transplant. My husband had one. There was just a lot of similarities. So I started following, and I was really drawn in. Some days it was hard because in her stories, I recognized the hallways she was walking. I had been there. There were outside shots of the hospital that I had spent hours and hours. So I was intrigued, but sometimes it was a little bit hard to follow because there was just so many painful memories for me. But I kept following, and until I didn't. And I stopped following because Donna went into remission. And I'm embarrassed. Not really, though. It's part of my journey. It's hard for me to admit that I had to stop following her because I saw her getting the happy ending that I didn't get and my family didn't get. And that was really painful. And so I stopped following her. Went on my life, forgot about her, until about 2 years ago. And a family member had recently met Donna and was telling me about Donna, and was saying what an amazing woman she was and how I needed to follow her and how she was a survivor like I was. And so I said, "Who is she?" And she told me, and I said, "Oh, I know who she is." And she said, "You do?" And I said, "Yes." And I told her the truth. I told her why I had to stop following. And she said, "Oh, she's still fighting." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Oh yeah, you need to follow her some more." So I started following Donna again on social media, and I realized her journey wasn't as easy as I thought it had seemed. Multiple myeloma is not an easy thing to beat, and she will remain on some form of treatment for the rest of her life. But she's fighting it. And this time, when I started following her, I didn't follow her with a sadness or an envy of her quote unquote happy ending. I followed her because I was drawn to her strength. I was drawn to her will. And one of the things I love about her is her honesty and her authenticity. And you need to follow her because she goes to every treatment. She's fighting cancer one outfit at a time. And she goes in for a treatment, a lab test, dressed like she's going to meet the queen. She is amazing, hence the name, the Cancer Fashionista. So probably about 6 months after I started following her again, I happened to be in a parking lot and parked right in front of her, and I saw her getting out of her car. And I walked right up to her. I introduced myself, and I told her everything. Told her about my husband, told her I had to stop following her, told her I was following her again. And here we were. I think we stood in that parking lot that first time we met for about 45 minutes. We cried, we laughed, we hugged. And since then, I consider Donna a dear friend. And we never would have been friends had we not shared this bond of illness. In my case, my husband's illness, and in her case, her illness. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for her friendship. I'm so grateful that I have someone like her in my life to encourage me and to give me hope, because she's a fighter, and I'm rooting her on and standing, watching this lovely, lovely, amazing, inspiring woman, and knowing that we're on the same team in strange ways, but we're on the same team, and we want the same thing. So follow her. She's the Cancer Fashionista on Instagram. Keep following me on my YouTube channel if you want to hear some more of my stories and my journey. But it just goes to show you, you never know what grief, loss, pain, what amazing people will come into your life because of it. And she's just one of the amazing people in my life.